get really emotional this morning, so I apologize. I have my tissues. But I'm just so honored to be up here to share with you what God has been doing in my life over the past year. I apologize if my voice is shaky, and I'll try to stay on track and speak clearly, but it comes from just a really hard place where I'm going to be sharing from. So just a little bit about me. My name is Brittany, and I'm 29 years old. I'm married to Michael. He and I have been married for 8 years. We have a little boy named Logan, who's 5, a little boy named Caleb, who is 3, and we have a daughter named Isabella, who is in heaven, and I am pregnant with our 3rd boy, and he is due in the next 12 weeks. So I'm going to share with you my story. It starts back on January 26, 2016 of this year, so about 10 months ago. That was the day of our 20-week anatomy scan with our 3rd baby. And for most of you, that's a really exciting day. I was excited, I was anxious, I was nervous. Something in me I had just a very unsettling feeling the entire time I was pregnant with our 3rd baby, that just something wasn't right, and I couldn't shake it. So we get there, and they do the ultrasound, and within a minute, we find out that we're having a baby girl. And I had been hoping for a little girl for so long, and it was just so wonderful to see that we were having a girl. The rest of the scan, though, it was very, very confusing, and I could tell something wasn't right. So me and my husband, we met with the doctor about 30 minutes later, and our worst fears were confirmed. Our little girl had a lot of abnormalities, and it was associated with a condition called trisomy 13. And we sat there, and as we're listening to the doctor, the biggest abnormality that she has is a problem with her brain, and it's called holoprosencephaly, and that's when the forebrain, it fails to split into 2 hemispheres. And that would not make her viable outside of my womb. She had also stopped growing, and that caused preterm labor just a few days later. She was born on January 28th, and she weighed 8 ounces. She was 8 inches long, and I just remember sitting there holding her, and we named her Isabella Faith. Isabella, it means devoted to God, and faith means acceptance of God's will. And I just remember sitting there holding her. We were able to spend 2 hours with her before she went to be with Jesus. But me and my husband just laid in the bed together and held her. We prayed over her, and we worshiped our Savior in the midst of all that darkness and pain. We felt God's presence. He was there. And even that morning, I woke up, and I had the song, Good, Good Father, in my head. I honestly had heard that song one other time, and it's a song by Chris Tomlin. But it just kept ringing in my head, you're a good, good father, you're a good, good father. And I just remember thinking, why can't I get this song out of my head? And so that song, it just traveled with me to the doctor's appointment and the ultrasound, and just going on in my head constantly. And I just remember, after we received the news of our daughter, just that song, you're a good, good father, you are perfect in all of your ways. And I just remember just wanting to just push that song out of my head because I was angry. I didn't understand what was happening. But the truth is, he is a good, good father, and he is perfect in all of his ways. And I want to share with you what my husband spoke at our daughter's memorial. This is what he said. He said, "You see, all of God's ways are perfect. We cannot pick and choose which of his ways we think are perfect and which of his ways we think he should have done differently. If we truly believe that God is perfect and sovereign, then all of his ways have to be viewed as perfect, no matter how hard or painful the outcome. When we reach the point that we can see that every action and every plan he orchestrates is perfect, then we can truly delight in the Lord, just as it says in Psalms. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. The days and weeks passed, and the Lord revealed so much to me during that time. I was angry, I was hurt, I was confused, but he was there. He was sustaining me. He was my rock. He was my healer. He was my hiding place. He was my fortress. He surrounded me. He strengthened me, and he gave me joy. He revealed to me that his eternal purpose for my daughter was greater than my earthly plans for her. He gave me hope, knowing that I will be reunited with my daughter again for all eternity. And he reminded me that death, it does not get the last word. I am so thankful that this is not our home. Our home is up in the most magnificent place that we can't even begin to imagine, and it is awaiting us. And I love that I can just rest in that, knowing that these trials that we are going through, these dark times, these painful times, y'all, this is not our home, and it's not even going to compare to the joy that awaits us. I also want to share something with you that I read a few years ago, and it really spoke to me. It's written by a band member from the band 10th Avenue North, and it's called Don't Stop the Madness. It says, by his grace, I can take the hard road that leads to life. I can think on the sovereignty and goodness of God. I can think on his promise that he is able to work everything together into something beautiful. It's complicated to reconcile a God who works through pain. It's tough to trust a God who allows suffering and inconvenience. It'd be a whole lot easier to mindlessly promise myself that Jesus always wants to make life easy, but I don't think that's how he works. If anything, Jesus uses dark colors when he paints. He's into streams in the deserts and life out of death. Just take one good look at the cross, and that ought to convince you that the God the Bible speaks of is a God who uses horror and injustice to his advantage. The cross is evidence to our minds and balm for our souls that our God is a God who brings beauty out of pain, art out of chaos, beauty out of ugliness. Or as some of the poets have said, he conquers death by death itself. Our Redeemer beats death at his own game. Hope rises. When we trust Christ in the mysterious work on Calvary, we trust that he's always up to something good, even in the darkest days. If this is the path the Lord has brought me down, then I say, don't stop it, Lord. Redemption was born on a far darker day than this one. So bring the chaos, bring the madness, do whatever you have to do to recreate my heart. And that's exactly what God did for me. During all that pain and darkness and loss, he recreated my heart. My thinking changed. I was no longer focused on earthly things, but on the unseen, the eternal. When you are faced with unimaginable pain, all you can do is set your mind above. Just as Colossians 3:2 says, set your minds on the things that are above and not on the earth. Andrew Murray, a pastor in the early 1900s, once said, there is nothing more beautiful and natural and blessed than to be nothing that God may be all. Whatever you may be going through, rest in being nothing. Allow God to be all. Trust in his sovereignty. Trust in his greater plan for your life. No matter what happens, may our God open our eyes and loosen the grip of our hands and allow our tongues to say, Father, you make beauty even out of the ugly things. You do all things well. Thank you all so much for allowing me to share my story with you. God has been so good at blessing us with another baby, doing just 12 weeks, and this really has been such a redeeming time for me and a healing time. And I'm just so undeserving of this new life that he's given me, and I'm just so thankful. So thank y'all again.